Many thanks for choosing us. Happy Workers' Day, because it's a day workers across the world are recognizing the hard work put in to ensure a strong economy. They usually use the occasion to push for improved conditions of service from their workers, especially governments who are the biggest employers. In Ghana, a rare event in Wa in the Upper West region to a large extent underscored the state of the worker. Scores of them boycotted the regional ceremony. Guess what? Simply because they were not giving T-shirts. More on this shortly when Rafiq Salam joins us from the Upper West region. But it is to deal with such conditions that organized labor has consistently piled pressure on government to improve labor legislation, working conditions, decent pay and improved environment. TUC boss Dr. Anthony Yalban spoke on behalf of all workers at a national parade to mark the 2018 International Labour Day.
To touch on pensions, the 3-tier pension system, which was introduced 7 years ago, and that has experienced very serious implementation challenges and which needs urgent attention. We have raised a number of issues on SNIT scheme, including issues regarding the formula for the computation of benefits. We are working with the Board of Trustees of SNIT to address those issues. The second-tier pension scheme has more challenges. As you are aware, our president, our government, Honorable, a large chunk of the second-tier funds that were lodged with Bank of Ghana was finally released this year in the form of bonds with maturity periods ranging from 2 to 10 years. Thanks to you and your government, workers who will retire in or before 2020 do not have enough time to invest their funds to generate adequate returns to ensure income security during retirement. Some retirees have brought to our attention the past credits SNIT has computed for them. In all cases, retirees are receiving lump sum benefits that are far below what they could have received under the PNDC Law 247. The pension reforms that were recommended by late T.A. Bediako's Pension Reforms Commission aimed at enhancing retirement income, but not to worsen it. We would like to appeal to you once again, Mr. President and Honorable Minister, to set up a special committee to review both the first and second-tier pension schemes. Organized labor will submit detailed proposals to government for the review of the 2-year pension scheme. In the meantime, we expect you, the NPP government, and we know that once the minister is here, our message will be well conveyed to our president, to reconstitute the Board of National Pensions Regulatory Authority. The delay in the reconstitution of the governing board of NPRA is contributing to the delay in the implementation of some important sections of the National Pensions Act 208, Act 766. We would also like to appeal to you to reconstitute the National Labour Commission and the Governing Board of Fair Wages and Salaries Commission.
That was Frida Stefan Frimpong representing Dr. Yalban at the event held in Accra. Well, the call is not just from organized labor. Other labor experts have also been speaking on the same matter. So how does President Akufo-Addo respond to these demands? We'll hear from him shortly. Right now, let's take you round the country to see how the day was marked. First, Rafiq Salam in Wa. Well, we'll listen to the president first, then we'll go to Wa.
It is important that we do things differently. if we are going to banish the specter of desperation and restore hope and dignity to our youth. Our ultimate goal as a government is to grow the economy rapidly so that together with the private sector, we will absorb our teeming unemployed youth. That is why I'm using the opportunity offered by the significance of this day, May Day, to launch an initiative which, while lending itself to the symbolic nature of today, will have a positive practical impact on the lives of the citizens of this country. In this year's Jumapa budget, I gave an indication that a new employment scheme will be launched to tackle the issue of the growing number of graduates exiting our tertiary institutions with no job placements in sight. This new initiative is the Nation Builders Corps, simply referred to as NABCO. I hear you asking, what is going to be done about persons who do not have diplomas or degree? The answer is this. NABCO is freeing up the Youth Employment Agency, YEA, of the burden of dealing with everything to do with employment amongst the youth, especially graduates. NABCO is granting YEA extra absorptive capacity to concentrate on non-graduates. YEA will also recruit 80,000 non-graduates this year, whilst NABCO commences recruitment of 100,000 graduates. Government's commitment to job creation will not end here, but will be accelerated through the implementation of our flagship programs of One District, One Factory, One Village, One Dam, and the program for planting for food and jobs.
In Accra, Maxwell Agbagba spoke to some workers who attended the parade.
As far as teachers are concerned, the first of it most is the arrears. The government is owing teachers more than getting to 6 years arrears now. And they are mentioning this validation issue, that they are using validation to pay the teachers, which to me I think is delaying. So we want to take this opportunity to tell the government to speed up the process so that all the affected teachers will receive their arrears as due them. And the next issue is about our promotion. Teachers work all years. When it gets to promotion, they decide to do a whole lot of things that undermine the progress of the teacher. So we also want to plead that as today marks our day, the government should be able to organize a better promotion for teachers so that we'll be able to promote it. When you are working and you don't get any kind of promotion, you see that the remuneration that you have to enjoy always demotivates you.
My name is Na Zakaria Guma. I am the secretary to TEWU of University of Ghana local. We've not been able to review our conditions of service so far as the public universities are concerned. And therefore, we are calling on all stakeholders to be aware and also to facilitate things for it to be reviewed so that at least it will reflect with the current expenditure so far as the workers' grievances are concerned.
Ghana authorities, we are playing a consultancy role on behalf of government. So we want government to give us the logistics that we need to do good supervision so we can build durable roads for Ghana government.
Yeah, I'm Victor Amo. I'm the union chairman, the local union chairman of Votary Transport Company. Our concern is it's about the railway line that is terminating, supposed to terminate at Akosombo Port, Votary Transport Company, which to end there, which is being diverted to another place called Mpakadan. And our concern is that when you divert it to Mpakadan, where we have all the facilities at Akosombo Port, and you are diverting it to a port where it's a virgin land, no development has gone on there. We have to start everything at from the scratch. Whilst we could only upgrade, we could upgrade Akosombo Port to make it the port that is required. We think that is a taxpayers' money. The government has spent money at Akosombo Port already. So just diverting it to make Akosombo Port useless, because we are not going to, use those facilities that we have. We have warehouses, we have a landing stage where we do our activities there. So our main concern is that sending the railway line to terminate at Mpakadan is not ideal. If we think that it's not the best. We are thinking that when they do that, it's going to collapse the company, because private people have positioned themselves at Mpakadan and ready to operate. We are a government, a state-owned enterprise, and we are calling on government rather to invest into the company to make sure that the company stands well.
I am Daniel Dauso, the Divisional Chair, National Service Staff Union. We just want to plead with management to ensure that our director is confirmed, so that at least he can concentrate on the core business of National Service Scheme. That is currently what we want. Our director should be confirmed so that he can have full grips of the work.
Yes.
Well, let's touch base with the other regions and speak with Rafiq Salam, our upper East correspondent, West. Rafiq Salam, good afternoon to you, and thanks for your time on the Pulse this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Aisha.
Rafiq, paint a picture of how May Day was celebrated in the Upper West region.
May Day in the Upper West region was no different from what we have experienced the past years. The workers this morning, as usual, gathered at the forecourt of the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, where the various unions came to share them T-shirts for the occasion. But unfortunately for some of them, talking about the Civil and Local Government Association Ghana, and also Public Sector Workers Union, PSU, didn't have much of the T-shirts to wear. Because the explanation that I have gotten from them, the members were saying that they only got a little over 300 T-shirts for the over 2,000 members in the Upper West region. And so it really means that the number of T-shirts that were brought into the region were less than the number of people who were going to take part of in the celebration. And so they were scrambled. Some of the members fought for it, and even have minor injuries in the process. But when I tried to, some even threatened to boycott the event, and they even went home because they were not having T-shirts. But when I tried to speak to the man who is the regional secretary of Bloktak, he told me that they did that for a purpose. What actually happened was that this year they didn't budget for T-shirts for the occasion. What they said was that they were going to give each union member a cloth, and the cloth is costlier than the T-shirts. And so, but it was the last minute that they revised that plan that they will have some few T-shirts. And he started an instance last year or even a couple of years ago where they brought about 100 T-shirts, but the people took the T-shirts on the eve of the May Day and didn't turn up. And so it was an eye-opener for them, and that was the reason why they brought only 300 T-shirts. But this morning, the large army of people, debut of people who came here for the program was marvelous. The attendance, it was well attended, only for them to fight over it.
Rafiq, I know all the big players were there, the TUC, government officials. What has government been saying about some of the issues raised by workers at the parade?
The acting Upper West Regional Minister, Amidu Chine Isaku, he spoke on behalf of the government. He talked about he praised workers for what they have done for this region, talking about the sacrifices they have done even at the peril of their life. And he said that to a very large extent it has grown the economy of the Upper West region, also changed the lives of the people. But he said that government was putting strategies in place to make workers, their lives better. And so they should also put their hands on the wheel for the better movement of the country.
All right, many thanks to Rafiq Salam, is Upper West region correspondent, and he's been talking about how the celebration of May Day panned out over there. Let's cross over to the Ashanti region where Ohim Interior is standing by. Good afternoon to you, Ohim Interior. You were grateful for your time on the Pulse. All right, so we've lost Ohiming. They will try and get him back to tell us, because all the big players were in Kumasi, and he'll be telling us how the day went in Kumasi. You're still watching The Pulse. We have more for you on The Pulse. We'll take a break. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. We're still celebrating May Day, and we're crossing straight over to Kumasi, where Ohiming is standing by. Good afternoon to Ohiming. We had all the major players in Kumasi today. I'm talking about the TUC. We had workers, government officials, all of them at the event. Tell us how it all panned out. Hello, Ohiming. You're on The Pulse.
Hello, Aisha. Can you repeat the question again?
I'm saying that all the players were there, all the members, all the big people, the TUC reps, we had workers, we had government officials in Kumasi at the parade. Tell us how it all panned out.
Thank you, Aisha. The Trade Union Congress organized today's May Day celebrations, which saw the President Akufo-Addo present the occasion. It was a well-attended event raised by all members of the Trade Union Congress. And even those who are not recognized or recognized members of TUC were there to also lend their support to the fact that the government worker is doing the certificate. Let me first start the Labour Relations Minister, Ignatius Somewhere, who mentioned the government imposed the and created 1 million opportunities for Ghana. I appreciate the fact that initially there were no special before work. Now they have from the education.
Hello, Heming. We can hardly hear you. If you could reposition yourself, then we can have a better conversation.
Aisha, is it better now?
Yes, very well.
Yes, the Employment Relations Minister, Ignatius Somewhere, did mention that the government has created over 1 million employment for Ghanaians who are happily engaged and they are employed, working to feed themselves and their families. Unfortunately, he wouldn't give details except to say that these employment opportunities are found in the education, health, and also the agri sector, and also mentioned the fact that the continuous engagement with the Trade Union Congress has ensured that the labor agitations are minimal. Though Mr. Basso could not give details, he only asked that the media can follow him later for details of where, or the breakdowns of where these people are working, the number and all that. So some of the journalists are even raising concerns as to why you mentioned the figure, but failed to give details of those figures. And you also went ahead to say that with the support of Trade Union Congress, a government is reviewing the single fine pay policy to ensure that the workers, get remunerated according to their performance and their contribution to the economy. And then he also praised the workers to continue to support the government in its efforts to promote their well-being. First, he mentioned the establishment of tripartite committee that has been engaging with the workers' fraternity to ensure that the concerns of workers are pushed onto government and addressed as quick as possible. Then became President Akufo-Addo, who first commended the Ghanaian worker for his contribution to the economy and also his support to ensure that government business becomes fusion. He said that 16 months of this administration has ensured the creation of jobs, and creation of jobs took a central stage of the government, and this has been admitting that private sector, if the private sector is well placed, it can create a long-term employment and also opportunities. So once the private sector is well placed with a conducive atmosphere, then it can thrive so well. And that is why the government has spent so much energy, so much time to position the private sector so well in order for the private sector to also assist government absorb some of the unemployed senior youth in the country.
How has government been responding to calls for the labor law to be reviewed?
Come again?
How has government been responding to calls by workers that the labor law should be reviewed?
So, yes, there were a response from President Akufo-Addo, who says employment ministry is working with Congress to work on this. He said, my committee to ensure that concern labor laws addressed as possible. He mentioned the fact that apart from there's also an expectation of inter-area property at level. Also, ask to bring practice in that regard. So we would enough details as to the government's position on this for reform.
I think we're losing you again, Ohime Nteria. We are losing you again. Can you please reposition yourself? We're losing you again.
Surely, I shall position myself so well.
I think it's better. We can hear you better now.
Okay. So President Akufo-Addo will not give exact details as to what the government's positions are on the call for reforms. He says a number of committees have been established to deal with all these issues as quick as possible to ensure that workers go to their work happily and work to contribute their quota to national development.
All right. Many thanks to you, Ohime Nteria, reporting from the Ashanti region where the big day was also celebrated. Now, we will be crossing over to the Western region shortly to speak to our correspondent in Athalia Kwanza. But first, the founder for the Progressive People's Party, Kwesi Nduom, has been speaking on the need to improve working conditions on workers across the country.
You know, in Ghana, we talk about jobs, we talk about earnings, we talk about pension, we talk about so many different things, and yet we do the kinds of things that don't encourage all of that to prosper. So here is to hope that this year, those in positions of authority, those in government, those who are in regulatory positions of all types, those who are supposed to encourage, particularly the ones in the public sector, encourage businesses to thrive and do well so we can employ more people. I want them to think that May Day is not just a day for resting. It's a day for them to think through how they are going to encourage the men and women who create jobs to do more, so many more people can be employed. And I am also wishing the workers well and encouraging them to also take the jobs that they have to be their own, do the best that they can so that they can earn not just a good pay, but that they can also earn a good pension so that life after working can be a happy one. So here is wishing you a wonderful, wonderful day, May Day, but then let's also make every day a worker's day for the worker, for management, for the owners, for everybody, so that our life can be not just productive, can be fruitful, but indeed a very happy one.
Right, that was Kwesi Nduom telling us how we should make every day a workers' day. Let's cross over to the Western region where Inathalia Kwanzaa is standing by for us. Good afternoon to you, Inathalia. Tell us what happened in the Western region.
Yes, Aisha. In the oil and gas sector raised issues about the huge disparities in the salaries between expatriates and Ghanaian workers in the sector. They have therefore called on the president to task the Employment Ministry and the Ministry of Petroleum to collaborate with the relevant stakeholders to develop a comprehensive national salary structure for the oil and gas sector.
Hello, Inathalia.
Hello, yeah, Aisha.
Okay, so how has government been responding to their request?
Well, the regional minister says that he would communicate whatever they have been saying, what the stakeholders came to present to him today to the president. He would forward their grievances to the president later on.
Well, many thanks to you, Natalia, for the update from the Western region. And we told you that it's not only workers calling for the review of the Labour Act. Austin Gamey is a labor consultant. He's also been calling for the review of that law. Let's listen to him.
So as a country, we need truly to open up to create the enabling environment for jobs to be created, to absorb them as many as possible, and have other channels of opportunity open to them to enable them to be able to even create their own jobs. So that is a very, very unfortunate situation that we find ourselves in as a nation. But it has happened, so we have to find a solution. The labor force, the management team, both must understand that there's a need for us to respond to the actual situation on the ground. If you want, let's say, 10,000 cedis a month as your pay, but how will that be funded? It must be funded from your service that you provide or your production that you produce. Now, if you produce and it is sold and the money is available, how do you and your management team share this relevant information to enable everybody to be on board? Unfortunately, we don't have real tangible practice of managing people and industrial relations in this country very well, to be honest with you. As a result, workers assume that they are overly producing and their managers are robbing them from their labor. It's not entirely correct in both ways. In certain circumstances, it may be true, but generally speaking, Ghanaians are not very productive because our human resource management systems and our productivity systems are not properly in place. They are either haphazardly being done, rooted in selfish motives, and therefore nothing seems to be working. And that is the essence of this conversation we are having around this table here today. So we need to evolve a system through our educational system so that the young ones who are coming up now, they will not come of age and be like the people who have come of age, and they have become a source of problem for us. Our educational system is problematic. We are not teaching with the mindset of people accepting responsibility. We are not training people with the mindset of people having to engage in a conversation. Everybody is full of war mindsets. I would demand, if you don't give me, let the world collapse. That's what is going on now. And so we have to change our ways of doing things.
But others will say that, I've paid so much for my education and I need a job, I need a well-paying job that would complement the efforts that I put into back in those days. Hence, this very culture of them going outside to seek greener pastures.
Well, it may be true. It's also not true because for lack of knowledge, my people perish. So says the scripture. The reality is that people lack knowledge about how these things are placed. The truth is that if you are employed, you are given a target. You are given a KPI to perform. If you perform, you have to be rewarded based on the corporate total performance, then the individual performance. Once the body achieves its objectives, then there is that room for you to be paid based on your productivity level. But now we pay people for appearing at the workplace. We are not paying people for their contribution towards the business. If that is the case, I assure you in the next few years to come, we might as a nation suffer paradigm paralysis. If you suffer paralysis means you are dead. There's nothing you can do about it. So we need to change our mind. There's a need for all of us to respond to the need for a change. And that change is not the political change. We are talking about real change that will bring meaningful results.
Austin Gamey is a labor consultant. We can now hear from the Deputy Minister of Employment and Labor Relations, Bright Rekurobe, who has some assurances for Ghanaians who have lost hope in the public sector.
Indeed, as a labor minister, my first point of advice, and indeed when you throw in this advice to a young person, the first thing he says that you have a job and you don't want to. Once you have something doing in your home country, the cultures of work, other issues come into play. Even the living conditions, the wages, the spending patterns. In Ghana, if a young person is able to raise some money and pay for rent, every month you are not obliged to go and pay rent. Abroad, people get money. Somebody may get 1,200 euros or maybe $1,600 a month. But then, because of the way their system runs, the person may not even have money to be living on. So I will encourage. It is difficult when you have to even raise lots of money. And that money you are thinking your parents should raise for you is something that can even start something here locally. I spoke to a guy last Thursday. He wanted placement in Ghana Education Service some 2-3 months ago. Then I went to the ministry and sought to, place him there. So I called him. He told me that he had started learning how to sew. This is somebody who has masters. And even as he is an apprentice, he's making more money. So the informal sector, for instance, is where our young graduates have not paid attention to. But why are you trained as a graduate? You are trained as a graduate not only in your field of discipline, but very well-rounded, to the extent that anything you take up to do, you do it with utmost care and trying to ensure that you yield the maximum benefit.
Well, let's get more of the assurances from the president himself, who says that an inter-ministerial committee has been established by the Ministries of Employment and Labor Relations and Finance to undertake the review of the single spine pay policy and to make recommendations for implementation by government. The president is explaining that having operated with the policy since its inception in 2010, it is time to institute the review. And the team is expected to do a thorough review of both public and private sector pay policies, not only in Ghana, but also across the globe, to make informed recommendations for implementation. The president is also speaking about the IMF, and in a statement released on May 1, the president stated that the completion of the 3-year IMF-supported extended credit facility program will spur on government to implement its own policies to improve the quality of lives of Ghanaians. And he goes on to say that the end of the program means that we will have the space to design our own social and economic programs without jettisoning the fiscal discipline and proper economic management necessary to give entrepreneurs the predictability and stability to plan properly, invest boldly to grow their enterprises, and also create jobs. And this is a statement released by the presidency on May 1 on Wednesday.